Hi, this is Chris Young, and welcome to Good News on Tap for the 20th Sunday of Ordinary Time. You never know what little thing you might do in the course of your life that gives witness to your faith or would cause someone to be attracted to you and your faith. Case in point was from my uncle's funeral last week. The priest who gave the eulogy has a really good sense of humor, and he told a couple of really great jokes about my uncle. Afterwards, a friend of my sister who was visiting from out of town went up to the priest and said she really enjoyed his sense of humor. She says, "I'm visiting from Albuquerque, but I just might go to your church next Sunday." He says, "Oh, you're from Albuquerque. Well, I'll keep that in mind and talk slower." Now, I don't know if he was implying people from Albuquerque were dim-witted or just laid back or whatever, but she really got a kick out of the joke and took it well. Although she said it was his wicked sense of humor that made her want to go to his church, I have to wonder if it was the fact that he could have that sense of humor during a funeral that was key for her. Even if it was just subconsciously, that might have been the reason. You see, a few years ago, her husband was killed in an accident at age 40-something, and she also recently lost her mother to cancer. To be able to keep an upbeat attitude in the face of death, and to face death head-on, it had to be a great example for her. My uncle knew that he was dying, and the priest talked about how he had faced it with courage, how he had taken the time to get his affairs in order, and was ready to die. Now, there was a time in my life when I was scared to death of dying. I'd been away from the church for many years, but I was invited to attend an Easter vigil. And that evening I met a woman who was suffering from lupus, and she'd gotten out of the hospital just long enough to see her husband baptized into the Catholic Church. Her courage in the face of death was a great curiosity for me, and it was instrumental in leading me back to the church. Now, this week my parish starts its annual inquiry classes for people who want to learn about the Catholic faith and perhaps join our church. But the people won't come unless we make them feel welcome. We can't treat them like outsiders who don't belong. Now, that seems a little bit strange in the face of today's gospel, in which a woman seems to have to beg and plead with Jesus to get him to help her dying daughter because she was an outsider. Now, part of the key to the story is that she was an outsider, a Canaanite woman, a foreigner. And Jesus knew that she wouldn't be easily accepted into what was then a Jewish ministry. After testing her faith and finding it to be solid, Jesus then used that faith as an example for his own people. He shows everyone that her faith is stronger than hers. She can stand up to the persecution. She doesn't feel that sense of privilege that the so-called chosen people felt. And through her faith, her daughter was saved. We may see people who we think are outsiders and don't belong, but they can teach us more about true faith sometimes than the people who have been around us all along. After I saw the faith of that woman at the Easter Vigil many years ago, I returned to the church. See, I was the outsider, and I wanted to get back in. I needed to belong. I needed to be part of a community that wasn't afraid of death. It was just a little over a year later that I began teaching the inquiry classes, which welcome new members into the Catholic Church. I've been doing it now for 26 years, because these outsiders who are searching for a relationship with God and are searching for a place to call home, they help me. They help me understand and appreciate even more the church that I was born into, a church that I had at one point rejected. They make me appreciate it even more. Now, if you have friends or family who have been estranged from the church, or who are from a different faith but are not getting their spiritual needs met, invite them to come to church with you. Invite them to come to inquiry classes. Perhaps they've been invited by others But there's something about you in particular that will encourage them in just the right way to heed that call back to God. And even though they may seem to be outsiders at first, you will soon find that they're going to be an important part of your own faith journey, and they will strengthen your relationship with God and help you as much as you help them. And that's Good News on Tap for the 20th Sunday of Ordinary Time.